go. So we always want to warm up whenever we start stretching muscles, so they stretch when they're warm, otherwise we're going to start to stretch the ligaments and tendons, and that's not what we're looking for here. So we'll just do a few sun salutations to start, and start with a few easy ones. Really start to let your body warm up, find your breath, your center as we flow, and then you can start to push yourself a little harder if you feel like you need it. So coming to the front of your mat, feet hip distance apart, standing tall. Just close your eyes for one breath so that you can transition from your meeting, your day, to this practice. And then exhaling everything out. Let's do that once again. Big breath in and sigh it out. Nice, you can open your eyes. And we'll inhale, bring both arms up, press down through your feet and really feel the stretch in the side body. Exhale, fold forward, keeping your knees bent, especially if the back legs are tight still. Relax the shoulders, relax the head, relax the arms. Taking a few breaths here. From here, slide your hands towards your knees. Start to push your hips back and chest bone forward, opening your shoulders and collarbone. Nice flat back. Yes, beautiful. Exhaling, folding forward. And then inhaling all the way up. So we're doing a half sun salutation to start. And exhale, hands to heart. Again, inhale, arms up. Finding length, exhaling, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice. And exhale, release. And inhale all the way up. Starting to notice where you feel any tension. Exhale, fold forward. What part of your body is tight? What part is already open? Exhale, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release. And inhale all the way up. And then exhale, folding forward again. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release. Plant your hands on the mat and step back into a plank position. So in our plank, we're just gonna shift our weight back and forth to warm up the feet a little bit, pressing down through the hands, keeping the core strong. And then exhale, lower your plank, and you can choose to put your knees, chest, and chin down, or Chaturanga Dandasana if that's in your practice. So Chaturanga, inhale, open. Again, if you're not quite open yet, do a baby cobra to start. And exhale, step back into your down dog. We want to pedal the legs here to open the hamstrings, calf muscles, keeping the arms long, back long. Yes, nice. So finding length, pushing the tailbone up towards the sky, bringing one heel down at a time. Good. Using the core also to help push that tailbone up. And then let's come into a static dog and really let the heels sink towards the mat. Even if your knees are bent, let them sink and keep pulling the tailbone up. So you're finding two opposite directions, a long line at the back of your legs, stretching out. Few breaths here. And then on your next inhale, look between your hands, step forward, halfway lift. Exhale, release. And inhale, come all the way up. Good job. Exhale, hands to heart. One more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Plant the hands, step into your plank and lower the plank straight away. knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, open, nice. Exhale, down dog. Again, pushing the tailbone up, squeeze the navel in, and let the heels become heavy. Feeling the stretch in the calves. Keeping the neck relaxed. Nice, yeah. And on our next inhale, step it forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart. Nice. And we'll do one sun salutation B just to get even more warm, and then we'll move on to the actual mobility. So bring your feet together. You can keep a slight space between your heels if you prefer. You're gonna inhale, push your hips back, bend your knees, arms come next to your ears. Chair pose, nice. Weight is in the heels. Let's hold it here. This is a nice heat building posture. Hold, find length, pushing tailbone down, arms up, fingertips away. Inhale and exhale, we'll fold forward, finding length. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step into plank and lower. Inhale, open. And exhale, down dog. Inhale, lift the right leg all the way up. Exhale, step the right foot forward in between your hands. Turn the back heel to come into warrior one. So front knee bent, back leg straight. Nice, hips are square. Good. Inhale here. On your exhale, we're coming back into plank, chaturanga, or any other variation. Inhale, open. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Turn the back heel in. Inhale, lift up, warrior one. Good. Hips are square. Nice. Inhale. Exhale again. Plank, chaturanga. Inhale, open. Nice. Exhale, downward facing dog. Holding for 3 breaths. Notice the pace of your breath, the rhythm of your heart, and how we're already starting to feel warmer. On your next inhale, step it forward, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift into chair. Let's hold it again for another few breaths. Keep pushing the hips back, weight in the heels. Good. And inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Just taking our breath. From here, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step into plank. And then from here, just lower your knees and coming into all fours. So if you need to adjust, bring your wrists back beneath your shoulders and make sure the core is engaged. And here we're really going to start with our mobility exercises. So today we're really focusing on legs and a bit of hips. So what I want you to do is really engage the shoulders. So we're not sinking here in the chest, but shoulders are engaged, core is engaged, and we want to keep the whole upper body strong and stable. And we're going to lift the left leg up out to the side. So my knee is bent and I'm opening the hip. And then just bring it back down next to the right knee and lift Let's do this 5 times. So 3 more, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Keep it lifted. From here, we're gonna go backwards with the knee. Bring the toes up towards the sky, big motion, and then slide the knee back towards the right and open it again out to the side. So big circle, as big as you can, finding the whole range of motion, and make sure not to move anything in the shoulders and the core. We're staying as stable as possible. Only the hip is doing the work here. And it can feel intense in the glutes. Let's do 1 more circle. And then we'll switch sides. So do 4 circles with the knee coming forward. You might hear some popping. You might be shaking a little bit. It's all good, as long as you're not feeling intense pain anywhere. Just normal muscle fatigue. Good. And when you're done, just bring your knee back down and maybe give your hips a shake a little bit. So you should feel that this leg, the active one, was working hard, but the other one was stabilizing also, so kind of firing up too. So let's do the other side. So this time, so again, engaging shoulders, core, so that we're not moving here, because we'll tend to lean to one side or relax the core. We don't want that. We really want only the glutes and the hip to work. So engaging and lifting open. See as high as you can go, and then come back down. And 4 more. For 4. Down. For 3. Come back. 2. And last one, stay up. Again, going back, pushing the knee back, lifting the foot up towards the sky without moving the core. And then again, knee comes next to the left knee and opens out to the side. 4 circles. The slower you do them, the more difficult it gets, but the more you can really explore and control the movement. And mobility is also about having more control of parts of our body. When you're done with the 4 circles, circle them back, forward, 4. Maybe also feeling that left hip starting to tire out, fire up. Good. And when you're done your last one, bring the knee back down. And again, maybe shift your hips side to side. Find a bit of release. Okay. From here, plant your toes into the mat. Inhale. As you exhale, we're pushing back into our down dog. Again, if you need to pedal out the feet, if that feels good, just go for it. And from here, we're going to step the right foot forward and then turn the back heel as if we're coming into Warrior 2 and stand up. I'm just going to turn my front toes in slightly, 45-degree angle. And my hips are parallel to the long edge of the mat. So we're going to do kind of Skandasana version. This is a side lunge, and it's going to be a repetitive motion. So we're going to bend into this side, working the inner thigh. What I really want you to focus is keeping that foot, the back foot, pressing down firmly and not lifting the toes. And we're coming back up. And again, let's do 10. And maybe we go down every single time. So 8, 7, going further, 6, without lifting the back foot, 5, 4, 3, 2, And on the last one, we'll stay down. Maybe your fingertips come to the mat. Maybe you can lower your hips even more. So keeping the foot flat. We're gonna try and push this right knee out to the back so we engage the glute a bit more. So right now mine tends to drop in. I really wanna squeeze my right buttock and push the knee out, so towards the back. Hold. And then let's come into our full Skandasana version. So here we're gonna start to lift the left toes up towards the sky. Maybe you can sink your hips deeper or maybe not. Just say wherever you feel okay. So we're feeling it in the inner thigh here of that left leg, and also the right glute may be firing up. Good, and then pressing down through that left heel, push your way back up. Coming into wide-legged standing pose. Good, let's do the same on the other side. So I'm just gonna turn my right toes in and then my left toes out a little bit, 45 degrees. So again, let's start our 10 lunges to the left. And again, we're gonna see if we can go a little lower every time. Just starting to feel as you press the right foot down, that inner thigh activate. So for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and on the last one, if you can, bring your fingertips all the way down. Keep pressing the right foot down and pushing the left knee away or back towards the back. Letting your hips get heavier and heavier. Breathing into that stretch. And then let's turn the right toes up towards the sky and maybe letting the hips sink even deeper. So this is Skandasana. Surfer's lunge also. Holding. And then on our next breath, pressing through down that right heel, we're gonna push up, coming back into our wide-legged standing pose. Good. So you can keep the toes out 45 degrees, or if you prefer, you can also bring them in parallel. Whichever you wanna do today is fine. We're gonna inhale, lift the arms up, and exhale, fold forward. Release the head, the hands come underneath your shoulders, and just try and find length in the back of the legs. If you need to bend the knees, you can. Yeah, good. And just maybe bring your weight into the front of your foot. And then from here, halfway lift and walk your fingertips forward so that they come beneath your shoulders. So I'm just gonna do this angle so you see better. So fingertips are on the mat, and I'm gonna do a cat-cow here. So I'm gonna inhale, try and open my chest and really push my tailbone up, and exhale, round. And inhale, pushing the hips back, and exhale, round. Do this a couple more times. Inhale, feeling the back legs lengthen as you inhale. And exhale, release. And last one. Inhale. And exhale, rounding. From here, you can bring your hands just above your knees. We're going to turn the ankles in and come into our goddess pose. So again, let's just bounce it a little bit. Working those inner thighs, seeing if we can go a little lower. And you want to keep the glutes active. So you're squeezing the buttocks in to open the knees out wide. Nice. Good.
Doing great. One more. And then let's come all the way down back onto our mat. Good. So still working on the inner thigh. We're going to come into a half frog position. So come onto your belly. This is more of a stretch, so we're not doing more strengthening. We're doing really more of a passive stretch here. So we're going to first start with the left knee, bring it out to the side here, and really try and sink that left hip back down towards the mat. So depending on your flexibility, you might really be higher, but just try and sink it back down. You can put something under your knee if that's uncomfortable here. And you can relax your head. Also, if you're quite comfortable, you can maybe try extending the leg. So straightening the leg. And let's hold it here for a couple of breaths. Really trying to focus on that inner thigh area. Feeling what's going on, letting the stretch happen. Sometimes we resist. So we're going to take one last breath here. Inhale. Really let your belly sink into the mat as you exhale. And then start to bring your leg all the way back. Take your time. Just relax both legs and notice how that left leg feels compared to the right. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So start opening that right knee out. So really bringing it as high as you can. And then sinking, making sure your belly comes back flat onto the mat and trying to sink that right hip bone towards the mat. And again, you can always put something beneath your belly, beneath your knee if that's a little painful on the joint. Or extend your leg out. Noticing if there's any difference between both sides. We're not completely symmetrical, so we usually have an imbalance somewhere. Again, taking one last big breath in. Exhale, release even further into the mat. And then start to wiggle or bring your leg back next to the right. And just take a moment to notice. And then bring your hands next to your ribs and push yourself back up into all fours. And then we'll come into a wide-legged seated posture. So open your legs out. So bring your toes up towards the ceiling. If you have tight hamstrings, you might want to prop yourself up on a block or a rolled blanket or something, or maybe even keep the knees slightly bent, but make sure you're pressing the heels down so that you can really move and hinge from the hips. So we can bring the hands into our heart or just out of the way. I like to bring them to my shoulders, but you can even bring them to your legs, just out of the way, and really start to hinge at the hips, feeling that movement coming from the hip here. Keep pressing the heels down. Good. And we're gonna stay for 1 second forward before we come back up and then come back. So reach forward, stay for a sec, pushing the heels down and come back. Push forward, push the heels. And as you push the heels, see if you can kind of push your hips back as you reach forward, finding more length in the legs and in the back. Good. Yes. So really trying to stay as flat as you can in the back. So don't pull your arms forward to make you go forward. Really try and use the core and the legs. Yes, looking good. A few more times. And then we'll come into, again, a passive stretch. So you can start to, we're gonna first lift our ribs out of our belly. So really finding some length here. And then again, just hinging at the hips, keep pressing the heels down, pushing the hips back, and see how far you can walk your hands forward, keeping the back as flat and long as you can. So this is really about what's happening in the hips and the inner thighs rather than reaching forward. The focus is really the mobility of those joints. So if it's getting intense, of course, come out, take a break, and then meet us back whenever you're ready. And then slowly we'll start to come back up. Bring your hands here beneath your knees to help you bring them and close. And we'll do a few windshield wipers to release any tension in the hips here. So by now we should be feeling that we've already worked the inner thighs and hip area quite a lot. Okay. And then you can slide your legs behind you. We'll come back into all fours. So we're again, another dynamic movement. We'll step into our plank. And what we're gonna do is step this leg forward, open the knee out, lower the hips, and then step back into plank and do the same on the other side. And we'll move from side to side. Yes, great. So if you want to, you can so you can roll onto the side edge of the foot and to open the knee even wider, and then come back. Keep breathing. Let's do 5 more. Last 3, 2, and 1. And then come into your downward facing dog. Take a breath. So from here, we're going to bring the right leg forward and lower the left knee down. I'm going to wiggle my right foot towards the left edge of my mat and just lower my knee. So we're coming into a pigeon pose. I'm scooting my left knee back so that I can start to feel the stretch in the right hip. So just so you can see. So my knee has to be outside of my midline. So this is my midline. Should never be aligned. It has to be out, facing out. And then, can you still hear me? Yeah? Is everything okay? Yeah? Okay, cool. Pigeon. So starting to scoot that back leg, centering the hips. So just know that you can shift the angle here of this front foot. If it feels more comfortable and more accessible, you can bring it towards you. Usually this is just has to do with your hip flexibility. So we're coming into pigeon and just bouncing it out a little bit here. And then just start to walk your fingertips a little forward, but keep pushing your hips back. So the stretch will start to feel a bit more intense in the right hip. Take a last breath here. And then start to walk your hands in towards you. We'll start to bring this left knee all the way towards my right foot and then lower both hips to the mat. So my legs are forming kind of a diamond shape. I don't know how to call this. So we just have sinking our left hip back into the mat. And we're going to turn away from our legs. So I'm going to turn and twist. And I can stay here seated, or I can start to shift forward even into a deer position. And if you want to, you could even lower maybe onto your forearms, or if you have a cushion, you could lie onto it. And see if you can press the left knee into the mat. And then start to walk your hands back towards you, coming back. And again, coming to all fours. From here, we're going to come back into our down dog. So take an inhale. And as you exhale, push the hips up and back. And then on your inhale, step the left foot forward, lower the right knee down. And we're going to scoot the left foot all the way to the right and then lower the knee towards the ground. Good.
So from here, start to shift that right knee back a little bit, as far as you feel that you can go without going too far. So we're keeping our hips a bit lifted and square. So we don't want to be leaning over towards the left, but keeping the hips and the weight even. And again, we can start to bounce a little bit here, finding some lightness. Maybe lifting the hands up for an extra challenge. It's quite intense. And then come back into a more static pigeon, and we'll just start to shift our hands forward, coming onto the fingertips. So we don't want to lean too much weight in the fingertips, but we want to feel a deeper stretch. And again, just breathe into that stretch. So our breath really helps our tissues to open and expand. Especially because when things are intense, we tend to tense up. And so our breath helps to relax. Last breath here. Inhale. Exhale, release. Start to walk your hands back closer to you, and then lifting that knee up, and I'm just bringing it closer until it reaches my left foot. And then I bring both hips down. Yep, good. So again, twisting away from the legs. You can bring your hands in front of you, and again, just starting to shift over that left hip and maybe going even further. Pressing the right knee down so that we're not lifting anything up here. Again, just notice where you're feeling it. So depending on everybody's flexibility, injuries, and life experience, life journey, we really might feel different things in the same pose. And then walk your hands back in and untwist. Great. Bring both legs in front of you. So we're gonna keep our knees bent here. Feet are facing towards the sky. And I'm gonna press my hands behind me. And I'm gonna use my hands to push my hips forward so I can come in on my sit bones and lift open the chest, puff the chest up, pressing the heels down and towards me. So this pressing the heels down and bringing them towards me activates the hamstrings. So we're activating, and then we're gonna release and round. And activate, pull the heels towards you, lift the chest, and round. And again, and round. And again, and round. Last one. And release. So if you can, start to walk your heels. If your legs are, if you're flexible enough to have your legs straight, do that. If not, keep the bent knees and make sure that you're still shifting your pelvis forward. So you're not rounding here at the back, but really able to shift. So sometimes keeping the knees bent helps with that.
if you have tight hamstrings. Yep, good. So from here, keeping the ribs out of the belly, we want to keep a long torso. We're gonna again shift from the hips and start to walk the hands forward. Maybe you can grab your ankles, maybe not. Maybe you can grab the outsides of your feet. And breathing into the stretch. So again, we've activated our quadriceps last time by pulling the heels. This time we're going to squeeze the quadriceps. So just squeeze as if you were trying to pull your kneecaps towards you. So when we activate the antagonist muscle, it allows for the muscle we're trying to stretch to find a little more length. And then you can release the quads and then just again squeeze and repeat a few times. And then slowly, let's release and round as we come back up. Nice. So we're going to come onto our backs. We're going to still work on our hamstrings, a little bit of hips. So rolling onto the back, just give yourself a hug to start, squeezing the shins into and knees into the chest. Maybe rocking from side to side if you feel that it's nice to release the lower back. And bring both feet back flat on the mat, knees bent. So working with the right leg, we're going to bring the right knee in towards the chest, again, squeezing it as much as we can, and interlace the finger behind your thigh. Yep, so at the back of the knee. From here, keeping that knee in towards the chest, we're going to start to bring the foot to the ceiling and try and straighten the leg. And it might not happen. It's not happening for me because I'm keeping the knee in. If I push the knee away, I can straighten. But keeping the knee into the chest, I don't have that flexibility in the hamstrings. But that's okay. And we're going to come back, heel to the glute, and then heel goes up and tries to come towards my face, keeping the toes towards me. And repeat. So we'll do this for about 30 seconds. Pushing the heel up, making sure that your hips stay grounded in the mat. So we don't want to lift the hips. And this time we'll stay with our leg, so our heel up towards the sky, and just stay and hold and breathe. You might feel some shaking happening. And then slowly release, bend the knee. We're going to grab the outside edge of the foot with the right hand. I'm coming into a half happy baby, so I'm pushing my heel back up, but I'm allowing my knee to open outside of my ribs. And I'm using my hand, so my elbow comes to the inside of my knee, yep. And I'm using my hand to push my foot down, my knee down towards the mat. Yep. So here we're going to start with keeping both hips into the mat, so don't let the left hip roll off the mat. Yep, excellent. And then this time, staying in the same position, we're just going to allow our left hip to lift off and the knee to come even closer to the ground. Maybe even all the way, depending. So my left hip is really lifted off the mat. If your knee is on the mat and you feel that you can, try and straighten that leg. Might not happen. And then come back to center and bring the right foot back down to the mat. Again, just take a moment to notice the difference in both legs. Different sensations. And then keeping the right foot flat on the mat, we're going to bring the left knee in towards the chest, squeeze it in, and then interlace the back of your thigh. And again, keeping the knee in towards the chest, the hips square. We're going to start bringing the heel up towards the sky, toes toward the face, and then again back towards the butt. And keeping that motion, active stretch. And then on our next one, we'll stay with the heel towards the sky, really trying to push it, straighten out the leg as much as you can, keeping the hips down into the mat. And start to release and grab the outside edge of the left foot with the left hand. Half happy baby. Keeping both hips in the mat to start. Letting the knee and the foot sink towards the floor. And then we'll start to lift. So we're rolling over to the left side, lifting that right hip. Maybe your knee comes all the way down towards the floor. And maybe you can straighten the leg, pushing the foot into your hand. And then slowly coming back to center, ground both feet flat on the mat. Inhale, and as you exhale, straighten your legs and coming into a short Shavasana. Just allowing the whole body to relax after all the work we've done. Every fiber, every muscle, tendon, ligament, letting them relax, rehydrate. Let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths. So inhaling through the nose, filling up the lungs and belly. Exhale, sigh it out. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. And last one. And sigh it out. Bring your hands overhead. Inhale, stretch your whole body. Exhale, release. And then you can roll onto one side and coming back up into a seated position. So if you have more time for more relaxation, please be my guest, do it, stay more still. But unfortunately, we have to wrap up this session. So just close your eyes, take it all in, and then let it all go. Thank yourself for showing up today. Acknowledge yourself for doing this practice, taking care of your health and mobility. It's an honor to practice with you and having you here today. Thank you very much. Namaste.